Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. Today is the 3rd of August, 2018. And there's, as you know, I feel like every day there's a lot going on, right? Like little stories that are just interesting enough to talk about, because I think when it comes to discussing, like, let's say fandoms and just different types of bits of nerd culture, ultimately, there's always little interesting tidbits that I do feel, in the grander scheme of things, get somewhat overlooked. And I like to kind of pull from that every once in a while. I like to try to find those stories and maybe talk about them. Now, I don't know. I can't say if these ones tonight are going to end up being these particular types of stories, but I always look for what I believe is the most interesting. And you'd be amazed at how much I read in regards to movie news that is just like regurgitations of press releases. Like, oh my God, this actor said this one thing on this one podcast. And it's like, oh, geez. But how much of it do you discuss? How much of it is newsworthy and how much of it is just pedantic bitching on the internet? Well, tonight, there's probably going to be a combination of both. I just want to be utterly upfront and fair about that there's going to end up being, probably a fair amount of shit. But first, I want to talk about something that I think we all kind of knew was going to be a thing. I think we all kind of knew that this was going to happen. And it makes sense considering, well, honestly, I don't think Marvel really had a plan for it, because even Paul Rudd here says that a sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp might not happen. I don't think anyone here is surprised by that at all. I don't think anyone here is very surprised by that. Now, it says here, after a very long wait, the UK is finally able to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. The superhero adventure came to cinemas nearly a month after it opened around the world, which that's weird. Just to kind of start off with that, why would the UK get Ant-Man and the Wasp at a later date? That's odd to me. Anyway, it says since the film's release, it's attracted critical acclaim and reportedly performed better financially than the original Ant-Man. Given Marvel Studios' domination of the multiplexes, many fans might assume that another film in the franchise is assured. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is true at all. The movie was good. I very much enjoyed it, but at the same time, Ant-Man and the Wasp just kind of felt like a placeholder film for a better movie, right? It just kind of felt like it could have been fine as like an hour-long short film, that they then used to tie in to Avengers 4, as well as maybe Ant-Man 3. I don't know what they've got planned. But ultimately, as far as sequels go, while fun, it had as little impact on anything probably as God, what? Thor in the Dark. Thor in the Dark World at least had Aether, right? At least it had the soul. At least it had that particular thing, the Reality Stone. Anyway, goes on to say here that according to lead actor Paul Rudd, that's not the case. And with Ant-Man's star, who plays the thief-turned-miniature hero Scott Lang, revealing to Radio Times that there might never be a follow-up to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which to some people out there, and here's the thing, is like I love Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd as the character. I really like the first movie. I love his cameo appearance in Civil War. I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm looking forward to him being in Avengers 4. I'm having trouble seeing where they could take the franchise necessarily, because he comes across as one of those middling characters that really only needs to appear in like one origin film and then the rest of the time straight up in an ensemble. And that would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. Now, Paul Rudd here says, I don't know what the plan is, and I haven't really asked because I don't want to put too much thought into it in case, well, what if there isn't? He goes on to say that there are a couple of ideas for a sequel, but I'd hate to go into any specifics, even though that is what you want, because it might not happen. Rumors have been circulating for some time that the solo Ant-Man movies may not have another outing, as the first film is one of Marvel's lowest performing titles, though still fairly successful in real terms, while other characters like Black Panther and Spider-Man continue to blow away the box office. Well, no, Black Panther blew away the box office. Black Panther absolutely blew away the box office. Spider-Man Homecoming did okay. It did about what Guardians of the Galaxy made. I think maybe a bit more than the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and also right around how much Wonder Woman did. So it wasn't, I mean, we're still talking like north of like, I think like 700, 800 million. So that's not like it's, not like it's not financially profitable. I'm just saying in regards to like the 1.3 billion that Black Panther took in, it's, like, a little less than half. So trying to put them in the same sentence it's still, I don't know. It's one of those things that doesn't make a lot of sense here. It says here, however, the increased performance of the sequel Ant-Man and the Wasp, even without certain foreign markets thanks to its staggered delay, has led some to assume the future of the franchise was secure. As it turns out, that's not the case, though that doesn't mean Rudd or Ant-Man and the Wasp director Peyton Reed are giving up on it. Paul Rudd here says, Peyton and I have had conversations and things, which sounds like a complete Paul Rudd statement to make, going on to say, let's worry about this one right now, but wheels are always turning. Even on the first one, we were kind of thinking a little bit about what we might do in this one. So essentially, Paul Rudd is saying, like, look, we didn't really have any plans to do, to get a sequel. Marvel gave us a sequel. We may not get another sequel. And let's take a look here just at what Box Office Mojo says in regards to the Ant-Man series. Now, Ant-Man came out in July 17th, 2015, right? And it grossed $180 million domestic. And that's what it did just here domestic and whatnot. But for foreign, I think it did around 513 or something worldwide. So Ant-Man and the Wasp domestic has actually grossed more than the first one. So that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. 3 years later in total it's grossed more overall. So that's not bad at all. But I don't know. It's still here. Ant-Man was it Ant-Man total worldwide unadjusted $519 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp $400 million. Now, granted, it hasn't hit all of its markets yet. It may come up to encroaching that number. I don't quite know, but I don't see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just don't see Ant-Man and the Wasp getting themselves a third film, right? I just don't see it. And this has a lot to do with the fact that the movie itself didn't really feel like a sequel. It felt like not a sequel. It just felt like a just a side story, like DLC to a video game sort of thing, right? And I have a feeling that when we see Avengers 4, and obviously Ant-Man is going to play a very large part in that, which I'm very excited for. When we get to that point, then we're going to be able to see everything play out, and maybe they're going to do some stuff in that's going to make Ant-Man and the Wasp, in retrospect, a much better film. They're going to like tie into a bunch of stuff. But the thing is It was in San Francisco. You know, Goliath was in it, which was pretty cool. That they had that character. I mean, maybe he didn't, actually play the hero part, but still referencing it was pretty dope. And then you had the Ghost, whatever the bad guy's name was, whatever that woman's name was. But even the bad guy in Ant-Man and the Wasp was like really Walter Goggins, and it was just like it was kind of wasted Walter Goggins. It's like this is Walter freaking Goggins. This is great. He's a great actor, but no, like they made him some kind of like. I never got any kind of fear or terror out of this guy, right? I just never did. It just didn't really do it for me in the long term. Not to say that I'm not going to watch the movie again. 100% going to watch it again. 100% going to buy it when it comes out because it's part of the collection for one, and two, I legitimately enjoyed it. And I think these are movies you go to. I think the Ant-Man movies are the ones you go to when you just want like a non-threatening Avenger. Like you watch Ant-Man 1, you watch Ant-Man 2, when you're feeling like watching a superhero movie and you don't want to worry about the plot, you don't really want to worry about connection to the larger, greater cinematic universe. You don't want none of that. And you end up finding yourselves in this position right here. That's the way I see it, at least here. So there's that. But let's take a look here at Ben Affleck, right? Because Affleck needs a win, right? I think Affleck needs a win after everything going on with just Batman, as well as everything going on with just his career in general. Now, it says here that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon win hot package on multi-million-dollar theft of McDonald's Monopoly game. Now, this is ultimately a very interesting story, and it's very interesting that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are teaming up together in order to direct and star in this thing. And that to me is awesome news that these guys are getting back together. Now, it says here, Fox is poised to win the hot lit property in the marketplace at the moment, a giant happy meal that everyone wanted. Ben Affleck is attached to direct and Matt Damon to star in a true crime story written by Jeff Maish and published in the Daily Beast several days ago about an ex-cop who rigged the McDonald's Monopoly game, allegedly stealing over $24 million and sharing it with an unsavory group of co-conspirators who offered kickbacks to the mastermind. The Pearl Street Partners will produce, and Deadpool scribes Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese will write the script. Now, I am on board with this in so many ways. I mean, like Nips could cut glass in on this in so many ways. One, Affleck directing. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Two, Matt Damon starring. Yes, please. Thank you very much. And those guys working together. That's the thing. Affleck has not directed Matt Damon that I recall at this moment in time. Right? Like it just I want them to be together again. Going back, Good Will Hunting, Dogma, like the old days of Ben and Matt, the late 90s Ben and Matt. Here it is 20 years later and they're finally working together. And also Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick were writing the script, and I love those guys. So I'm very excited that they're involved in this. I think the humor is going to be on point. I think Matt Damon will be able to play it out pretty well. I hope Affleck actually is in it as well. I really do hope that Ben Affleck is actually a big part of it. I hope that Ben Affleck is a co-star in it, at least something. Because the thing is, Affleck is actually a solid director. He's a great director, and he's a solid actor. The Town is wonderful. Argo is fucking amazing. I haven't seen Live by Night. That's my bad. But I do like Affleck. Gone Girl was great. The Accountant was awesome. I mean, and I loved him as Batman. I'm just gonna be honest. I love him as Batman. So yeah, Affleck one time called me a teenage racist many years ago. We're talking like 18 years ago. I was in the first Project Greenlight, and I wanted to call Affleck out because we were all in the contestants thing. This was like the write a low budget script, get $1 million budget, and they're going to help you make the movie sort of thing. And so I was in the forum for the people who wrote the damn scripts. And people are like, Affleck never comes in here. And then I'm all like, well, I'm going to go get some Affleck. And so I go to the main forum where they actually were hanging out. And I'm all like, Ben Affleck is a pussy because he won't come talk to us. Because I was a cocky 18-year-old little motherfucker back then. And then Affleck called me some like teenage racist talking about blowjobs or some shit. Because I was telling some old stories about blowjobs. But the point is, I still like the guy. You know, he defamed me a little bit, but I defamed him first. So it's kind of fair game. Now, it goes on to say here, because now we're back on the tangent, it says here that the bidding was ferocious for Macia's How an Ex-Cop rigged McDonald's Monopoly game and stole millions. Lining up to bid are Universal for Kevin Hart, Warner Brothers. Kevin Hart? No, I don't want Kevin Hart touching a story like this one. I don't want Kevin Hart really doing anything anymore. Warner Brothers for John Requa and Glenn Ficarra and Steve Carell. Carell would have been okay. And Netflix, which was bidding for partners Eric Newman and Brian, whatever. But then also Robert Downey Jr., Susan Downey, and Todd Phillips. Now that could have been something, right? That could have been something very interesting. Getting Robert Downey Jr. and Todd Phillips back together again, right? Because listen, Due Date was basically Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like the updated version of it, but it still had some pretty redeeming moments in it. I'm totally okay with that. Now, the article itself opens in 2001 in Rhode Island as a multi-million-dollar check is delivered to a man who said he'd won the $1 million grand prize after collecting Monopoly pieces and attaching to food products. Defying the 1 in 250 million odds and modeled after the venerable board game that piece says was invented as a warning about the destructive nature of greed, a camera crew was detached to hear how the man won, and they chronicled his series of lies. They were FBI agents closing in on a sting that began with a tip about an Uncle Jerry who'd sell stolen game pieces. Solid detective work unearthed Jerry Jacobson, the head of security for a Los Angeles company responsible for generating the game pieces. It led to a wide conspiracy that involved mobsters, psychics, strip club owners, drug traffickers, and a family of Mormons who falsely claimed to have won more than $24 million in cash and prizes. It's always the Mormons. Always the Mormons. Always the Mormons. No, this sounds freaking... With the right script, this sounds pretty damn awesome. This sounds pretty damn good, and it kind of sounds like a solid knockout of the park for Affleck. It does. It sounds like a solid knockout of the park. It sounds like just Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese are good screenwriters. Affleck is a fantastic director. Matt Damon is a great actor, and in a darkly comedic take on it. Now, I'm not talking dark, like Very Bad Things sort of dark here. You know, maybe like Hangover level styles of dark. I think we could get something great out of this. I think it's going to be a dark comedy, and I'm on board. I'm on board. I don't know if I want to go as far as to say Oscar worthy, but because Affleck's directing it, like they're already going to be talking about that, right? They're already going to be talking as soon as this thing gets going. They're going to be talking Oscar buzz for it just because of who's attached. Damon, Affleck, and Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese might get best adapted screenplay nods. That's what they're probably going to be talking about. But speaking of Batman here, so this has been a big one, right? This is a big thing. A lot of people out there are dying, and I mean dying, not literally, figuratively, obviously, to know more about what the fuck is going on with Ben Affleck and Batman. This is the will they won't they of the ages. This is the shit that keeps me awake at night, biting my fingernails, gnawing at the fleshy nubs for fingertips, wondering will he don the cape and cowl once again, or will it go to somebody else? And it's just, you know what, Warner knows people want to know about this shit. They didn't talk about it at all at Comic-Con. They didn't say a damn word about Batman at all at Comic-Con because they wanted to focus obviously on Shazam and Wonder Woman, and I get it. I understand it, but it's fucking Batman. We all want to know what's going on with the Batman. But of course here, we have a little bit of information, but it's not what you think. Not what you think here. Matt Reeves, the director of the Batman movie coming up, says his Batman movie won't be based on Frank Miller's Year One. Now, this obviously is some news because we did talk about this the other day where it was rumored that this would be Year One, which essentially kind of was like Batman Begins, right? And a lot of people are talking about that. Now, it says here, last year, Matt Reeves was hired to write and direct the Batman for Warner Brothers, but the project hasn't shown much forward momentum in public. Recent rumors suggest that Reeves could start fresh with a new Batman, replacing Ben Affleck with a younger performer. It's also been suggested that Reeves will base his script upon Batman Year One, the classic story by Frank Miller. However, Reeves directly refuted that rumor when he addressed the press at the Television Critics Association. Oh, so the press at the TCA, they're able to get information out of Matt Reeves. They're actually able to get some knowledge, right? They're actually able to get some information when the rest of the movie going news can't do shit. right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's like, come on, guys, do your damn jobs. Via Slash Film, Reeves says, we're not doing any particular comic. Year one is one of the many comics that I love. We are definitely not doing year one. It's just exciting to be focused on on specifically a tale that is defining for him and very personal to him. Obviously, we're not doing an origin tale or anything like that. We're doing a story that is definitively Batman and trying to tell a story that is emotional and yet is really about him being the world's greatest detective and all the things that for me since I was a kid made me love Batman. Now, I've got to say I love the fact here that he wants to make that he really wants to make a Batman movie that is very, very personal to him, right? That he very much wants to do that, and I'm totally on board with that one. Because Matt Reeves is a fantastic director. The last couple Planet of the Apes movies are great. Let Me In was great. Cloverfield was great. This dude knows how to tell a solid story. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next year. Now, he says here, I've talked about making it a very point of view and noir-driven, definitive Batman story. Okay, so just focus on that one here. It's a very point of view, noir, definitive Batman story in which he is investigating a particular case that takes us out of the world of Gotham. I went on a deep dive again, revisiting all my favorite comics, those all informed by osmosis. Then there's no continuation of the Nolan films. It's very much trying to find a way to do this as something that for me is going to be definitively Batman, new and cool. Now, that's the kind of weird thing. So he talks about a noir-driven, definitive Batman story, but then goes on to say that he wants to, he says there's no continuation of the Nolan films. Why would he do that? Now, isn't that a bit of a weird statement? Like, why is it that he would sit there and say, there's no continuation of the Nolan films? That was a contained story. We know that was a contained story. It ended 6 years ago. Like, we know that. Now, is this because he's trying to sit there and say, he's saying it's definitely not in the Nolan universe, but is that a way as moving it around the DCEU? I mean, that's kind of a thing, right? He goes on to say here that the script for the Batman may have the first draft finished within a few weeks, which may allow the project to begin production early next year. Reeves declined to say definitively whether Affleck would remain involved or if the actor is planning to exit the DC Extended Universe. God damn it. Stop that. I would hope that Affleck is on board. But with that Monopoly movie, we never know. We don't know when it's going to take place. I mean, they're going to probably fast track the movie. So Affleck do it, starring as Batman in 1 year and then directing a movie. That's a lot of work for him, man. He says here, there are ways in which it all connects to DC, to the DC universe as well, says Reeves. We're one piece of many pieces, so I don't want to comment on that except to say I'm focused specifically on this aspect of the DC world. Now, isn't that a little bit weird? What does that mean? What does any of this mean anymore? Right? What does any of this actually mean? I have no fucking idea, guys. I got no idea. I wish I did. I wish I had a solid understanding of what they're talking about here so I could break it down for you in a way that makes sense. But here's basically what I'm thinking. This to me feels like it's going to be a definitive noir-driven Batman story that's going to be in the same vein as Todd Phillips' Joker film, right? I don't think this is going to be tied to the DCEU anymore. I think this is tied to the greater DC universe, but not what we've already seen them build over the course of the past 5 years. And I don't know if Affleck's going to be involved. I would very much love to see Affleck come in to finish up his trilogy, to get his own standalone movie, to be the Batman, to be the world's greatest detective. And I think with what Snyder established in Batman v Superman, the extended cut was great, and I'd love to see more. I'd love to see a lot more from it, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that. I don't think we're going to get. I just don't think it's going to happen anymore, man. I'm losing my hope. I'm losing all my hope, and I don't like to lose my hope. I like to be hopeful, which, especially when talking about the goddamn DCEU, which is, I feel every day more news comes out about that. It just makes you want to cry a little bit. You're like, what are you doing? You don't know what's going on. But I think they're just keeping everyone waiting to know what the hell's going to happen. So then they can surprise us or let us down easy. All right, let's talk about MoviePass because it's come up a lot recently. I've done a lot of content talking about MoviePass. I've covered it quite a bit, and I want to start off by saying here, I like the concept of MoviePass. I supported MoviePass for almost a year now. And even though I didn't use it every single month, I didn't cancel my subscription because I liked the concept. I liked the idea of paying into a system where someone can use that $10 that I spent and go see a movie. And then, of course, if I go see a couple in a month, it kind of works itself out. I think it's perfectly fine to do that. I think it's perfectly great to do that. And unfortunately, it's just gone to shit. Helios and Matheson Analytics Incorporated buying this thing has just, they screwed themselves because of how scummy and greedy they are. Even though they're going to argue that they aren't, I think it's fair to say at this point that they absolutely are. Now, they issued a press release today that says, "We're standing." Sure you are. Okay. Let's take a look here at the press release because I think this is going to be fun to go through the entire way. MoviePass, the nation's premier movie theater subscription service and a majority-owned subsidiary of Helios and Matheson Analytics, today pushed back on comments by some in the theater industry who have predicted and in some cases declared its passing. It's not like people in the movie industry and the theater industry. Notice how he says the theater industry. This is the thing to pay attention to this, right? This is where they're going to start like attacking the theaters. Maybe not the studios because they want the studios in. But they're probably going to attack the theaters. But their stock is dead, so I don't even know. It says here again, exhibitors, so theaters, know that without MoviePass, they will be able to continue to charge exorbitant prices for theater tickets and gouge customers with overpriced concessions. This is exactly the attitude the taxicab industry took when Uber entered their market, which is true. That is true. I mean, there were protests of taxicab drivers in France that pulled Uber drivers out of their car and beat them to a pulp. This literally happened. This is legitimately happened. Although it's not, if I use my MoviePass down at like my local Cinemark, the assistant manager isn't going to come out and like tase me in the sack for using it. That's not the same thing. But there's that. Now, they notice how they are trying to basically put that together. They are trying to make that a thing. Now, furthermore, any crowing about the uptick in box office receipts this summer season should include the fact that a significant percentage of that is directly attributable to MoviePass subscribers. Now, I don't know how much that is, and they might say that in here. We'll find that out. But just for where we are right now, I want to argue that I do believe that is probably more accurate than not. I don't know what percent. I don't know if it's going to be significant, if it's going to have an actual impact. But there are people out there who were buying MoviePass, who were going to see movies, and it was inputting. It was an influx of cash that was coming into the marketplace, and we've known that last year theater sales were down, the worst they'd been since 2000. So we know that they're losing money, and we know that Hollywood is spending more and more money on these particular projects, and then they keep going on and on and on about how they're losing money and all these things, almost as if it's a guilt trip to the general movie-going public that's like, go see our movies if you want us to keep making more. We can't survive without you. We have to spend $400 million on this movie, right? But then everyone's like, why don't you just tell the actors to not get paid as much, or to all do the Tom Cruise method of just getting points? The budgets don't need to be so bloated, and I'm sorry, they just don't. But that's where we are right now. So theaters. So here's the thing: movie studios put it onto the moviegoer, basically guilt tripping them. So here comes MoviePass, like, yo, we're gonna put it back on the theaters and on the studios, and then now this not working, they're kind of doing the same thing to them. It's a weird thing. Now, here's what they say is just a sample of this of how directly attributable MoviePass has been to the industry. It says MoviePass contributed nearly 1/4 of the domestic box office receipts for Lionsgate's Blind Spotting through the first Tuesday after its release. Okay, did a lot of people go and see Blind Spotting? Because it's popped up on my Twitter, but no one I know is talking about it. MoviePass ticket purchases nearly 17% of Thursday preview night screenings for Paramount's Book Club. Right. So a comedy about a bunch of elderly women reading 50 Shades of Grey, because that's basically what the movie is according to the preview. 17% of Thursday night preview tickets for that were done through MoviePass. I don't think that's going to work the way you want. For Warner Brothers Tag, which MoviePass promoted in-app, its purchases represented 13% of the film's opening weekend domestic box office totals. Now, Tag kind of came and went, but the thing is, you have to pay attention here to what exactly it is that they're saying. Now, MoviePass promoted in-app, meaning like they promoted it to their clients, to their customers through the app. And that presented 13% of the film's opening weekend domestic box office totals, meaning we promoted it, people then went to go see it. Therefore, money, please, because that's what this was. I mean, this is how they're going to make their money. This is what they want. Now, they also say here that MoviePass tickets accounted for 12% of the entire theatrical run of Magnolia Pictures' runaway documentary, RGB. Let's be fair here. The only runaway documentary that people have been talking about during the summer of 2018 has been Will You Be My Neighbor, which is gross over $20 million. So come back when you hit that MoviePass. Come back when that's the thing. Now, they also go on to say here that overall, we believe as much as 6% of the industry's total box office receipts can be traced to our loyal subscribers. It's clear that because of MoviePass, more people are seeing more movies at fair prices. Instead of wishing us away, the industry, particularly the independent film producers, should be congratulating and supporting us. Absent MoviePass, exhibitors are fighting to preserve profits in declining box office environment. That's a doomed strategy. Now, you got to look at this here. And I watched John Campia's video on this today, and he took this like he treated this like it was an abuser. And he's got a point, but at the same time, the strategy that MoviePass here is using is very fascinating because this is all in the language. Now, they say, instead of wishing us away, the industry, particularly the independent film producers, should be congratulating and supporting us, meaning find a way to pay MoviePass to promote your film like Blind Spotting and RGB, right? Which were independent films, essentially. And then, use that as a way to boost up your bottom line. And then that will definitely help, money come into you guys, as well as theaters are going to be getting a bit of that cut. And also saying, absent MoviePass, exhibitors are fighting to preserve profits in a declining box office environment. It's a doomed strategy. To that I have to counter, though, AMC has their A-list class, their A-list, whatever it is now. 175,000 people have signed up for it. I think like $20 a month or whatever, and more people are signing up. The thing that MoviePass has done is it's forced other theaters to create the exact same type of subscription-based service. And honestly, I'm going to be going over to Cinemark just because I go about maybe once a month to theaters now, and $9 and I get to go see a movie, and that's fine with me. Because when I went to go use my MoviePass to go see Mission Impossible, I had to pay money to go see it. And I'm like, nah, screw you guys. So this kind of this doom and gloom approach, right? This type of guilt trip that they're rolling for here, it's not going to work. I don't think it's really not going to work. Now it says here, yes, we're going through a rough patch, not unlike what other disruptive enterprises entered their early days. Much of our issues can be attributed to unprecedented growth in a business that just 12 months ago did not exist. Now, that's not true. MoviePass has been around for years. If they're referring to Helios and Matheson, or whatever the hell it is, buying it 12 months ago and taking over the controlling stake of it, yeah, that would be accurate. But no, it's been around for a long time. And that's basically about it. They think that they're going to do really well. They're kind of screwed at this point. MoviePass is an awesome idea. It's a fantastic idea in its design, or its theory. In practice, it's great. In theory, it's great. Practice, it's not doing so well. Their stock has crashed. They split their stock. It crashed even more. Stock is down now. I've heard anywhere between 13 cents and 8 cents a share. It's so low that I'm tempted just to buy a couple hundred shares for shits and grins, and then just hold on to it in case if I lose $20, but I end up having a couple hundred shares, that'd be fine. But if it goes up to like $30 again, like sell out and like, hey, make some money. Buy low, sell moderate, I guess. MoviePass will probably keep itself around, but what they're trying to do, and this is, I talked about this before, but this is very true. They're trying to talk movie studios into paying them a cut of the theater or of the ticket prices, or what I feel is not so much like just a cut of the ticket prices, but probably more like marketing. They want to advertise exclusively through MoviePass. They want to offer exclusive deals through MoviePass. They want to do all these things like through MoviePass. That's what they want to do. And ultimately, if they were to frame it in a different way, it could work. If they were to sit there, go to studios and say, look, you pay us a little bit of marketing, so you can cut out, let's say $3-4 million in marketing because you spend a lot of money. We'll direct our customers to go to, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows, and that will give you a large opening weekend. And again, this is generally what Hollywood cares about, is just in terms of numbers. They predominantly just want the opening weekend to be fine, and past that, they don't tend to talk much about it. Now, that would be an interesting approach to it, so to speak. We have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. But ultimately, I think MoviePass is pretty much dead. The AMC equivalent is very well liked. People really like it. Cinemark, for me, like I said, $9, I get a ticket and 20% off concessions. And MoviePass is just, it's kind of making its last grasps at trying to stay relevant. And it's unfortunate because I feel they completely screwed themselves in terms of how to run a business. But, when they got started as a way simply to just get data and get money from other people, or sell off your data to other people for cash, it's I don't really feel bad, especially post Cambridge Analytica. All right, so let's talk about this last story here, because Star Wars is always an interesting subject matter to discuss, and look for an exclusive Star Wars podcast coming out from me here pretty soon. But what we have here is Rogue One scribe defends The Last Jedi. I don't like it when anyone defends The Last Jedi, right? I just don't. I just really don't. I mean, what's there to defend? Now, if you're talking from a production standpoint, like cinematography and graphics and sound design, oh yeah, no, you defend all that you want. Totally. But this is the scribe of Rogue One. This is the writer of Rogue One. And Daddy don't like that. It says here that when Christopher McQuarrie stepped in to defend filmmaker friend Rian Johnson over his decisions regarding The Last Jedi, the Mission Impossible Helmer was subjected to a fraction of the regular online abuse and hatred that Johnson has been on the receiving end since The Last Jedi. There was all those articles that came out saying that Christopher McQuarrie doesn't want to direct a Star Wars movie because of the crap that Rian Johnson's gotten. But anyone who's seen Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Mission Impossible Fallout can tell you that Christopher McQuarrie can actually write and direct a good movie. So, there's that, right? Now what we have here is Rogue One, a Star Wars story scribe Gary Whitta has now bravely stood up to that toxic element of Star Wars fandom to speak in Johnson's defense. Whitta is quite intimately familiar with The Last Jedi, as he is writing the comic book adaptation of the film. Well, this is what? Okay, so haven't they already retconned some shit in that too? I need to review. I need to read and review those. Let's see here. Okay, so speaking with Jedi News, he says he probably would have written a very different and more predictable film than Johnson did, but it would not have been better. That is an outright lie. If you were writing a different and more predictable film, it probably would have been better. Now, yeah, okay, hold on. I mean, I get it. I understand the concept here, the idea of, The Force Awakens was a little bit too predictable. It felt a little bit too much in line with The New Hope, and then here comes The Last Jedi, and it subverted all expectations. And that's what, it is. It's kind of like the pendulum swinging to the extreme of the other side. I get that. But there's nothing really wrong with having a film be relatively predictable in areas. We see so many movies that we kind of subconsciously catalog a lot of these things anyway. And writers watch so many movies and are involved in so many projects that they subconsciously add these little things in there that everyone picks up on. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with it being predictable, provided it's fun. That was the one thing The Last Jedi was fun. It was not a fun movie. Did anyone have fun in Canto Bight? I wanted to commit seppuku with a fucking frisbee. Every time I think about that scene, I'm like, And then I'm also like, yeah, but you left children to rot, you bastard. Floppy your dog horses. They're cool. Let them go. But the children, nah, let them to be. Leave them to be, mistreated, beaten, potentially raped. Just saying. Rose Tico, complicit. She's complicit. Anyway, this is what he says. He says, look, I would not necessarily have made every choice that Ryan made because I'm not the same person or writer or fan that he is. That's debatable. But I respect and admire and appreciate and support every choice he did make. The film he wrote is far braver and more mature and more challenging than I could have ever written. But just because something you call something mature and challenging doesn't mean that it's doing it in the right ways. It could be a mature movie, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people wanted it to be a mature movie. I think people wanted it to feel kind of in line with Attack of the Clones, because Attack of the Clones, let's be fair, was mature at the time. But then, of course, the youngling singing and Revenge of the Sith kind of blew all that out of the damn water, right? It's like, oh, hey, Anakin, you killing Tusken Raiders? That's fine. Women, children, it's fine. No one cares. They're dirty sand people. No one cares, right? Did you lay their bodies in a line so no one could see how many you killed? But then he goes and he kills children and everyone like loses their shit. I'm just saying, it was a bit more on the mature end, the dark end, and people like that. People can respect that. But when you write a story like this, you want to have it be challenging but also engaging, and that's what it lacked was engagement. Right? That was the biggest problem, the narrative problem with this movie. Now he says, I suspect I would have written a more fan service driven film that would have appeased some of the noisy minority. But ultimately would have been a lesser and less important film because of it. Frankly, I love it when they say, frankly, I'm disgusted by the treatment that Ryan has received. He's not just one of the most talented filmmakers working today, but one of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet in any walk of life. Both he and the film he made deserve far better. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I had to vomit that out of my mouth because that was just like stupid. With the graphic novel adaptation, Witta says he was able to do things I wanted to see, but without having to upend any of Ryan's intents. Okay. All right. So this means certain scenes are seen from a different point of view, while he was able to include internal dialogue from Luke, which further goes into his regrets, his strained relationship with the Force, and his isolated existence. So can we sit here and agree that that basically Gary Whitta is basically subverting The Last Jedi, right? Is that what he's saying here? Like he's like, I mean, I'm able to like do things like that, Ryan, that like without really upending any of his intent. But I'm able to give people what they want, which is fucking context, or character development. Jesus. See, this actually makes me want to go and read it now because if it adds more context, maybe then we'll have a better fundamental understanding of what the movie could have been. Never mind the fact that the book, the novelization, did a couple things differently than than everything else. They tried to added DLC basically to the novelization in order to flesh out certain scenes, and it appears that the graphic novel version of this is also doing the same thing. So what you have here is you have the novelization of The Last Jedi trying to fix what Rian Johnson fucked up, and then you've got the graphic novel version of it that's still trying to fix things that he fucked up. That's pretty bad. Oh my God! Wow. Yeah. Listen, man. I understand why Gary Whitta wants to defend Ryan. I get that. I do. They're part of the same tribe. They're going to protect their friends. I understand that completely. I get it. I understand it. It's fine. What I find to be very funny though is the fact that he's basically like, Ryan did this really like intellectually mature and dark film, okay? And like, I mean, it was a really awesome movie. But, and then he gets to go and add what he wants to add to it. So you could tell right there through the dialogue that like he is, if not consciously, then definitely subconsciously taking what he's doing in this graphic novel and he's going to make it a fan service. He's literally retconning it in order to be a fan service. I got to go read these now. I don't know how. I know they came out like I think a couple months ago. I think it's like a six issue run. I think they're coming up on like issue 4 or 5 or something like that, which would make sense, I think. And I need to give it a go. I need to give it a read and then review them here for the channel. But that's where we are now. They're trying to retcon The Last Jedi and it's still not gonna fix the movie. So come back when you add these scenes in the movie. All right, guys, that's all the episodes. That's all the stories I have for today. If you guys, be sure to check back often for more content from me, and be sure to subscribe. And I will see you all next week. All right, cool. The podcast recording part of the episode is over with. The podcast recording part is wrapped up, which means we're going to be opening it up, guys, to questions and comments and all sorts of fun shit. If you guys want to jump in on the action, and I hope you do, head on over to discord.me/mundanematt. Jump into the green room, and I'll pull some people in if they want to come and have a conversation. Now, I'm going to read some of these comments you guys have left here. Go through the chat. interact with you guys, in a way that's going to be fun, exciting, and entirely consensual. So that way you guys don't think that I'm taking advantage of your goodwill. While I wait and see if anyone here wants to come in and have a conversation. Jay Caesar asks, how are you, man? I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. I had some caffeine, feeling pretty hyped up. I do 2 streams a day now. I'm doing the news stream at 12:30 p.m., going through 4 stories. And I'm doing this. It's pretty good. I got a bit of a nap in too, so I feel a lot better too. It takes a lot of energy to do live shows, to do a couple of them a day. So I got to get a nap in. It would also help if I went to the gym. That's the other part of that too. Hold on. So let's see here. Let me just double check this shit here. All right. Looks like we got ourselves a good thing here. Okay. The Last Jedi, Dark Mature must have watched the wrong movie. Well, yeah, I get that. What did I think of Team America? Let's see here. America. Fuck yeah. Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah. I love it, man. That's one of my favorite movies. Let's see here. Will I stream all week or just the weekdays? Probably just the weekdays, Rachel. It does take a lot out of me to do this, to do both. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing it, but it's like I have to get into a routine. So it's like emoting a lot. Even it's one of the reasons why I'm not going on camera right now. Simply because that's a lot more pressure, and it just kind of like really drains me. So I'm just having more fun talking, and that to me is what I want to do. Let's see here. Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition greater than TLJ. Yeah, no shit. I actually rewatched Batman v Superman quite a bit. What are my thoughts on college humor? I like college humor. The best thing to come out of college humor, in my opinion, is Adam Conover, who I'm a fan of. He actually follows me on Twitter, which was interesting to find out. And then I went to see him on a tour he did. He came to Portland in 2016. I went to go see him, and he recognized me. And as I walked up, said hi. And I was like, Adam Conover knows who I am. And that's awesome. Again, I'm a big Adam Conover fan. So there's that. Let's see. All right. Okay. Who's hotter, Calcutta or Leslie Jones? Oh, Garrick, you card. Let's see. Biggest flop I've seen. The one that shocked me to the core as a fan. Probably Batman v Superman, the ultimate, not the ultimate, the theatrical cut. Because I walked out and I'm just all like, my girlfriend is all excited to take me to see the movie because she knows how much I loved Man of Steel. And we go see it, and she was all like, it was my birthday too. It came out basically on my birthday. And I walked out and I'm just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that movie. Like the same, I felt kind of similar to The Last Jedi, but like, the Ultimate Edition adding in that extra half hour of plot really helped out. So if there's that, I think it did pretty well, did pretty good. So I'll take all that shit. Let's see here. The one video I like from College Humor was when not to correct people's grammar. Yeah. We all know you peeked at Leslie's nudes. I did see them. When you research stories for making internet content, it sometimes take you to dark and unexpected places. In this case, it was in fact Leslie Jones's asshole. I don't ever want to see that again. Because honestly, it's not that it's not like it wasn't a nice enough looking asshole. No, it's more like it was a really intimate photo, and I felt really bad like that I saw it. And also like her passport and her driver's license. That information was entirely leaked. So, that wasn't good for her. If there was an Ultimate Edition for The Last Jedi, yeah. What happened to the quartering? What's crazy? Yeah. People have been asking me to make a video about that. I'm like, I don't know, man, maybe. Let's see here. How's this? John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic and Emily Blunt as Invisible Woman. Yeah, dude, I'm all for that. All right, Anthony, have yourself a good night, man. The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I saw that on HBO a long time ago. I would say arguably like Battlefield Earth was worse than Pluto Nash. So Jordan Farrell has a teaser trailer for a Scooby-Doo fan film. Jordan, you should post that here in the chat. People can check it out. What do you think of the new Spock coming for season 2 of Star Trek Discovery? I haven't read up on the new Scott. I know he's in it, but I haven't read up what's going on. So what do you think of the Angry? You know what, Mason? I never watched the Angry Grandpa show. I never watched it, unfortunately, so I never really got into it. Wasn't really my thing. Wasn't really what I was up to, you know. So, but it just sucks that the guy died. It is very unfortunate that he passed away. I know it impacted his family really hard, and obviously thoughts and prayers, which sounds like such a horrible thing to say, like, oh, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. But no, I mean, really, it is. You really want to. You really got to do these things. You gotta do it, Morty. You gotta thoughts and prayers, Morty. That I fucking suck at Morty. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. Okay, where am I at here? Okay, so anyone comes on let's see. Remember, if you guys want to come in and chat, you guys can open calls on the Discord. Just hang out in the green room. If no one wants to, that's fine. Let's see here. Do I think Avenue Q could work as a movie? Yeah. Yeah, I think it could. I think it'd be really funny. I think if they did it well. What's going on, Nerd Report? How you doing, buddy? Let's see here. Did I ever watch the Angry Video Game Nerd? Yeah. I watched him. I met him a couple of years ago, actually. He was at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I got to meet him. Let's see here. Hot take: Star Wars does not make a good cinematic universe. Same story, equal pissed fans. See, the thing is, though, it actually, it could make a good cinematic universe, but you have to set up an arc. And it has to set up, you have to do an arc, and you have to kind of set up these characters and then have them go on their individual arcs. What kind of, bending and bobbing and weaving through each other's as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that be a thing. And it could work. It just requires there to be forethought and foresight. And that's honestly what we're not seeing much of right now in regards to Star Wars. What's going on, H Barts? How are you, buddy? So there's that. Let's see. What are my views on the propaganda Bob Chipman spewed on the oh man, Bob Chipman. Bob Chipman is a thing. He's a guy. He's a dude. Oh my Jesus. Bob Chipman, man. I can agree with him on rehire James Gunn, but in Bob's view, everything is Gamergate. Everything is that. Right. To these people, Gamergate never ended. It's just a thing. Let's see here. I would love to see L327 in the cinematic universe. No. What do I think would happen to Jeremy at the quartering? I think it's terrible. How often do I deal with threats? I don't get as many as I used to. I used to get a fair amount. I still get a few death threats every once in a while. It's actually one of the reasons why I've just stopped posting pictures of my kid. So there's that. And, yeah, I mean, I get a little bit paranoid when I go out sometimes, but ultimately it's all good. I see that we have Kylie in the green room. I'm going to bring her in. So Kylie, if you're listening, be sure, be ready to come on over to the streaming and we'll have a conversation. Hey Kylie, you're live. How's it going? Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. It's I want to open up more to conversations with people, actually it's not just me. So it's not always just me. So what's on your mind tonight? Anything you want to talk about movie wise or? Hell yeah, I'm going to see Meg. It looks fucking awesome. It looks like Jaws on steroids and with complete summer fucking flair, man. Oh, sorry. People can't hear you. That's my bad. My bad, guys. My bad. There we go. I forgot to turn the button on.
Oh, that sucks.
There we
That's
go.
cool.
Okay. So he asked me the question, am I going to go see Meg? Like, yes. I'm going to go see Meg. Yeah, the thing I like about that is, for one, the trailer, like, the trailer sells it for me because it completely goes, yeah, we know what we are, and we don't fucking care.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we don't care. That's the whole thing that I like about it, is like, hey, Jason Statham in a big dumb shark movie. Yeah, I'm in. You know,
yeah, yeah. Did you see that one with The Rock? What was that? What was that called? Tower or something? I don't remember.
Skyscraper.
Skyscraper. Was that good?
I haven't seen it yet. No. I want to. Again, it's so hard for me to actually get to the theater that I just don't do it as often as I'd like.
Yeah. I saw it. I didn't like it that much.
Was it? I know it was. I know that it was Die Hard in an office building.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a prosthetic leg and everything.
Oh, I know. He decided to represent a disabled group of people, and
I mean, all right, you could do, all right.
And that was, and they got really mad at him for that one. You know, they got really mad at him for that.
Yeah, everyone gets mad at everyone for.
Oh, trust me.
Stuff that, it's ridiculous.
No, I mean, like I get it. It's. I mean, like, the thing is, like, there are legitimately things I think at time to get ticked off at somebody for, right? There always are.
Yeah.
However,
yeah.
In the case of fucking, like, The Rock, it's all like, look, I'm a dude who was, like, in the army and shit, like, and lost my leg, and I got a prosthetic, and and then these terrorists take over this building, and I that's it. Like, it's
hard out, man.
It's kind of like, okay, did you ever see Battleship from 2012?
No.
See, that's the thing. Everyone I know who went and saw Battleship liked Battleship. It's everyone I know who fucking saw the trailer, thought it was going to suck, and never went to go see it.
I thought it was going to suck.
It was
that's why I didn't see it.
It was like, it's like the Meg, right? It was big, stupid fun. Like, it's legitimately stupid fun in that movie. I had so much fun watching Battleship. And because these when a movie is over the top and it's kind of silly, but it never gives a wink or a nod to the audience that it's in on the joke, right? Like, that's when you've got a kind of a good thing on your hands. It's like when a movie, like, it's like Ghostbusters that stops what it's doing and, like, pulls out nostalgia from its ass and then crammed it down your fucking throat, right? Like, that ultimately is like, that's bad. But, like, Battleship has this, has a subplot with the girlfriend character trying to get to this radio transmitter, and the dude she's with is this legitimate, like, I think he's a former Army colonel or something, and he lost both of his legs.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. So he's got these prosthetic legs, and he literally goes in the movie toe to toe with a fucking with one of the aliens, and fucks him up.
That's
right?
Fucking badass.
It was so it was so badass. Like, I mean, yeah, we have just a very guy in the chat here, just a random very intelligent source says, I agree, Battleship was fun. It was just fun. And that's the thing, is people were like, it was in May 2012. It was right after Avengers had come out, and Avengers was kind of like, just kind of, hit it out of the park, I think. It was making so much money. And I have this theory about the summer box office season, where there's only so much, there's like a finite amount of money, and only a couple movies are going to end up ultimately taking the, taking that prize home. And Battleship just came out at a bad time. It came out 3 weeks after Avengers, and it just kind of died,
Yeah.
And because also at the same time, like, I think Dark Shadows came out, that Tim Burton movie that was really bad. And then you had, like, The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen that was fucking terrible. And then, like, I saw Battleship, the Dictator, and Dark Shadows all in the same weekend when I lived in LA, because, like, I don't think anyone in LA actually ever pays for movies if you know what you're doing. So it's like you can just go see a lot of different shit. But here's a funny thing, though, because just a random very intelligent sir brings up the fact that, like, Rihanna is in Battleship, right? And he says Rihanna wasn't even that bad in it, which is true. She wasn't. And here's a little funny factoid. So a year before that movie came out was Snow White and the Huntsman, starring Kristen Stewart, right? Now, she's the lead character in that movie, and she had fewer lines of dialogue in that film than Rihanna did in Battleship.
movies.
I'm serious.
Wow.
Yes, she had fewer lines of dialogue. And that was she was like the reason why people were coming in. It was like, oh, Kristen Stewart as Snow White, and she barely fucking spoke, which actually made the movie better because she's good in some roles, but I can't stand her in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then Garrick here reminds the audience that that Battleship is in fact a Peter Berg movie.
Yeah.
So, and Peter Berg's a fun director.
Watch.
You should if you ever saw The Rundown with The Rock. You ever see that one? It's same director. No. Oh, you never saw Rundown?
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, go on YouTube and find like the opening of The Rundown. All right. Like go find the opening of The Rundown and watch the Rock in that. It was fucking great.
Any movies that piquing your interest that are coming out soon?
Yeah. And hold on a second. Yeah, what is coming out? I want to go see. Let me see here, because I again, it's so hard for me to get out there. Like I have my MoviePass is active for 1 more month, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna try to use it to see whatever I want. I do want to see. Okay, like I do kind of want to go see The Spy Who Dumped Me because I just want to see something really stupid.
I saw the trailers for that. That looked really neat.
It looked really bad. But if it's free, I'll go see it. I want to see Equalizer 2.
Bad, you know.
Yeah, I want to see Equalizer 2 because the first Equalizer was fucking fantastic. Let's see. I don't know what Dog Days is. Slender Man's coming to theaters. I should probably go check that one out. Because I mean, Slender Man. It's I saw the first trailer and it kind of looked like shit. But that being said, I figure I could go check out the if it's free, I'll go see it.
Yeah, I'd only watch that movie if I could see for free.
Well, it's like when they did you ever see the Marble Hornets web series?
Huh? No.
Marble Hornets was like the first Slender Man web series that popped up online. And really? Yeah. This came out like 2010, I think, and it's like it's all done kind of point of view, found footage, pseudodoc style.
Yeah.
And it's creepy as fuck, right? Like legitimately creepy as fuck. And like the first season is solid. Second season kind of loses me a little bit because they introduce a female character and then they move locations to like a hotel. It's very weird in the way that it's presented, but they decided to do a movie version of it. And it's called Marble Hornets. No, it's is it called Marble Hornets or what the hell is that? Fucking hold on. Marble Hornets movie. There we go. Always Watching. That's what it's called. Always Watching, and it came out a couple of years ago, and it didn't get very good reviews, but it was basically the Marble Hornets story.
Yeah.
And like I still have to check it out for that because Doug Jones played Slender Man. And Doug Jones is like, if you watch Star Trek Discovery, he's Commander Saru. He played Abe Sapien in both Hellboy movies. He was also the creature, the fish guy in The Shape of Water. And so like he does a lot of those kind of like lanky, thin type characters. So yeah. Slender Man is kind of like the role for him. And you got to play it. But I never actually got around to watching the damn movie. I think because around that time I was moving and I just kind of forgot it existed. I think that's the whole thing. Is I think I just forgot that it existed.
It's just that they did it way too late. Like the fad is like already over. No one really cares about that. They care about the new horror fad. Last year was It, and then this year's I don't know. They're doing like a Five Nights at Freddy's movie now. Or apparently
the Five Nights at Freddy's movies was
that canceled?
No. It's what's it called? Christopher Columbus is directing it.
What?
Yeah. Christopher Columbus is directing it, so it makes like no fucking sense. Like director of Harry Potter and fucking Home Alone is doing Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes. Wow.
So there's that. But all right, man, we got someone else waiting in the green room to come on in, so I'm gonna move you up. But thank you very much for coming in. I'm gonna do these more often, so. You're kind of the first person. You kind of popped my cherry in that regard in a totally consensual and loving way, and I really appreciate it. And I'll definitely talk to you again soon. Have a good one.
All right, man.
Hey, what's going on? You are live.
Hello.
Hey, so introduce yourself to everyone so they can know who you are.
My name is Louis Lecca. I run nukethefridge.com and the nerdreport.com. I hope you can hear me okay.
I can hear you just fine. Yeah. Are you on your phone right now?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Does that work, or should I have done this to the computer?
No. You're fine. I just want to make sure, like, just in case, like, we have any kind of technical issues. It's all like, like talking to the microphone. But
well, right now you sound great. I don't know how I sound, but
you sound okay. I sound like I'm talking on a very expensive microphone, which I am.
Because you are.
Because I am. This will earfuck you to the point of completion. So that's what you're in for. You know it.
Man, this is great, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been a big fan for a while. I'll try to keep up with you, whatever you want to talk about. Hope I do okay.
Well, no. Right now, like, this is when these kind of call-in things happen. Really, it's kind of like whatever's on your mind. Like if you want to comment on, I don't know if you caught the podcast portion of the episode.
Part of it, but you know what? I want to bring up this subject. The Terminator picture. I don't get it. I don't get it because we're here. We want to see Sarah Connor. She's not even front and center of that photo. She's like on the side, on the far right-hand side, and it's like a real bad Photoshop job. And I don't think this really gets people hyped up for the next James Cameron installment. What do you think?
I mean, well, it's the first promotional photo, right? It's the first promotional photo that we have, and ultimately, I don't mind it so much because it's kind of like it's just meant to set the tone, right? And again, I only care about like Sarah Connor in this particular photo, right? Like Mackenzie Davis is the other one that's there, and it's all like, is she gonna be a Terminator as well? Is she gonna be is she gonna be a robot? We have no idea.
It seems like she may be, because she has some. If you look at the photo, it has some. Her veins are outlined, or her arms are outlined.
Well, that's because heroin is a big problem in Hollywood.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's yeah, she's maybe, and then they everyone's like, oh, it's wasn't like Natalie Reyes. I'm like, who's that? I have no idea. Like you're trying to, if you're like Mackenzie Davis, you can just go, oh, San Junipero from fucking Black Mirror, or she was on what's that show, Halt and Catch Fire, or Halt and Catch Fire, whatever the hell it was. So it's what she's been around. She was also in that weird makeout sex scene from Blade Runner.
Yeah, the new one, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like, she's kind of making a name for herself. The thing is, though, the promotional image aside of the movie, dude, it's Tim Miller. It's Tim Miller. It's being, it's produced by Cameron. Cameron is directly involved pretty much in as much of it as he possibly can, because he's working on Avatar films right now. But he personally chose Tim Miller. Tim Miller proved himself with Deadpool. 100% proved himself. And I
agree, but there's been the past few Terminator films have been.
But he had nothing to do with any of that, though. He had nothing to do with any of that.
Yep, correct. But still holding the Terminator name, and I don't know. I think the first image should have been a little stronger, in my opinion.
Well, I feel like I get what you're saying, but I think ultimately too it boils down to this: if people just go like, "Oh, the new Terminator," and then you're just like, "Yeah, but it's Cameron," and then everyone's like, he's producing it, and he's directly involved, and then all of a sudden the conversation goes like, "Oh." And then you go, oh, yeah, it's also disregarding Terminator 3, 4, 5, whatever. It's disregarding all of that. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh, hey, all right. Now I'm more interested. Yeah, that's all right. Because it's true.
But the first image looks like it's part of 3, 4, and 5 instead of a continuation of.
It was definitely over Photoshop. It was definitely over Photoshopped, 100%. That's why I said, like, I looked at like Sarah Connor. I'm like, that looks good. Like I just focused on her. I'm like, I like Sarah Connor. I'm down with that. Cause at this point, we're waiting for Linda Hamilton to just seriously fuck shit up, to just like come in and that's what I want. And I think what I'm hoping though is like Tim Miller. Okay. So let's kind of like be a little bit, I guess, critical on the situation. Cause who did Terminator Genesis? Alan Taylor, right? And, you know, Taylor came off of Boardwalk Empire and Game of Thrones, and he directed some of the key episodes in the first seasons. And then he was tapped to do Thor, The Dark World. And he wanted to make it more like, you know, more like Game of Thrones, you know, that kind of like approach to it. And clearly Feige had other plans, and they scrapped, and he left. But then he goes and he does Terminator Genesis. And it's like, I feel the biggest problem with Terminator Genesis was the people making the movie, because, you know, they wanted to do like a trilogy. They were originally going to have a trilogy planned for 2015, 2017, and 2019. They were going to complete the trilogy before the rights revert back to James Cameron in 2019. So it's like, even though this movie comes out next year, like he still doesn't have the rights right now, but like I think whoever's financing it is like, well, he's going to get it anyway. I might as well get whatever money I can get out of it.
Yeah,
you know?
by the time it comes out, it's gonna be Cameron's already, right?
Yeah. So right now it's still not his, but he's still very much involved in it. But I mean, what they were doing with Genesis, I get what they were going for, but the marketing was like so bad on that movie. Like it spoiled the John Connor twist in the marketing. and the thing is, I didn't know about that because I was fearful of the marketing of the movie. So every once in a while on a big summer movie, I will literally avoid every trailer. I'll find myself not watching a preview. And then when I realize that I haven't actually seen a preview is when I start actively avoiding the previews. Right. And so this one, I went in completely blind. I went in entirely blind, and I had no idea that it was going to be what it was. And so,
I thought.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I thought Genesis was fine until the third act.
Yeah.
It just got a little obnoxious. What do you think?
No, it did. It did. When all of a sudden, like, John Connor is now, you know, like a Terminator, and you're all like, like, I'm all like, I was in it, man. I was in it. I liked Emilia Clarke, you know, as Sarah Connor. I liked Jai Courtney as Kyle Reese. I'm a big Jai Courtney fan, you know, fucking Varro, man. Spartacus days, you know, and I really liked it. But like, yeah, I guess that final act, and that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with like then that final line. It's like, I thought you died. No, I upgraded. You know, it's like, you know. But I'll tell you this though. I'll tell you, see, another movie that came out in 2015 that I don't feel gets as much love as it should is The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I didn't get to see that one.
Oh, you're missing out, man. Like legit missing out.
No, I've heard. You know, I think Henry Cavill is underrated. I've seen him in a few other films. He's I think he has a lot of potential, especially now. I'm hearing that, you know, the Mission Impossible film, everyone liked them.
Yeah, no, they did like him, but I don't think he's coming back.
As Superman, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean? Oh, spoiler for the next. Yeah.
No,
but
I mean, well, the marketing even for Terminator or for Mission Impossible Fallout is definitely, yeah, what's the word I want to use? It kind of spoiled a bit of it too, but I think you already knew it was coming. So,
well, they're talking about him as a possible coming back for James Bond.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Apparently, he was one of the front runners. Well, I mean, you know, before.
Yeah, and he made the comment the other day that he'd like to play James Bond, right? He made the comment the other day that that'd be fun for him to do, and I think ultimately, like, he'd be okay. I think he'd be good in the role. But I also I liked him as Napoleon Solo, and so I think they should do another Man from U.N.C.L.E., you know. But the problem with it is Guy Ritchie movies, especially Guy Ritchie at Warner Brothers films, as outside of the Sherlock Holmes, probably haven't done very well. Like, I mean, King Arthur, which someone in the chat said that was pretty underrated. I actually haven't seen King Arthur. I own it. Like, I'm actually looking at the Blu-ray right now, but I haven't opened it and watched it yet. So,
and plus he looks too much like Superman to me. The guy was born to play Superman.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Well, him and Matt Bomer, I think, both kind of look the part, you know.
It's gonna be like, why is Superman pretending he's James Bond? Type of thing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in the chat, man? We want to know what you guys think in the chat. I always enjoy reading the comments in the chat. People are real creative.
Yeah, people have some good thoughts here. We got a pretty good group of people that watch pretty consistently. I'm very thankful for the audience that comes in. They're good guys. I would like to see, like, the thing is, I'm kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, man. As much as I want to see this next James Bond movie, I'm not entirely like finding myself caring about it as much as I think I should. Because it's like they kind of wrapped up the storyline in Spectre. Like they wrapped it up.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not that hyped about it. Who's the new director? Boyle.
Boyle. I think Boyle. Yes, that's the thing. It's Danny Boyle. You're like, oh, well, fuck. All right, I got to check that one out.
Man, I hate to say this, but I want him to make another zombie flick. I want the 28 months later. He never talks about it. I want to know what's going on with that. I really like. I still love his take on zombies. I know they weren't really zombies in the 28 Weeks Later movies. It was a virus, but I'm wondering where that went.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I remember when I first saw 28 Days Later, I was the movie had I think just come out like here in the States, but I was able to get a copy of it from a friend through some means, and so I'm sitting at home and I'm watching it on like my big screen TV, and by myself, right? I think it was like Comic-Con weekend, like whatever year, and my family was out of town, so I'm by myself. I'm watching it on the big screen TV in the dark, and I'm like, this is the best movie ever. And then I remember going to see 28 Weeks Later, and you know what? That was pretty good. That was solid.
So you kind of cut off there. Did you say you like 28 Weeks Later as well?
Oh yeah, I did, man. I did. The opening of 28 Weeks Later was solid. That was a good little kind of get you in the beginning of that.
Yeah, so the next one should be 28 months, and then 28 years will be in the future.
By the time they get to it, though, it's already. Or I think at this point I feel like we're almost closer to 28 years because it's been 15 years since 28 days. So, if they're gonna do 28 years, we're actually closer to that at this point.
Matt, you're pixelating real bad. I don't know if it's my end or your end, but it's getting a little difficult to hear what you're saying. So I hope I'm not talking nonsense.
No, I hear you, man. I think you're coming in just fine, and my bit rates here are all good on my end. So I think it's on your end. Are you coming in through Wi-Fi, or are you coming in through your through just kind of your data?
My data. Let me switch to Wi-Fi real quick. If not, I'm gonna probably have to let you go. But hold on a second. Here I am on my Wi-Fi. How's this?
You've been sounding fine the whole time, so it should. Then me coming back to you should be a little bit better now.
Okay, I think it cut off. Hold on, let me see.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Ruh-roh.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me okay or what?
Yeah, I think my connection's pretty much dead, Matt. So I'm gonna let you go because I can't really hear anything you're saying. It's my end's whack, but thanks for having me on the show. And
we'll
I'm gonna continue to I'm gonna continue to listen right here and watch the comments, and I'll talk to you later on, buddy.
All right, man. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter. We'll definitely chit chat. So
you got it. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for coming in,
Thanks,
buddy.
everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. So I've got about probably 10 minutes left until I wrap this thing up. So if anybody here wants to come on, the Discord link is in the video description, and you guys can come on and chat. If not, we can answer some questions. Jay Caesar says, did anyone see or like 30 Days of Night? Loved the concept of it. Did not necessarily care for the movie very much, to be honest with you. It was not for me. It didn't really do it for me at all. So there's that. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Nerd Report, man. Sorry your connection got kind of janky. Joe and Mikey from the drive-in saying what's up. Hey, Mikey, man. Hey, tell tell my brother to like, you know, for one, like text our mom and like schedule the time to get his ass up to the Northwest and shit. So there's that. Also, yeah, he needs to come meet his freaking niece. So, don't be a dick. Am I a fan of Kevin James? I like him well enough. I have no problem with him. Let's see. Did I see Red Letter Media's review of Solo? No, I don't. I'm not a fan of Red Letter Media, so I just don't watch them. I know. You figure I should be a fan of Red Letter Media, but after a while, if all you do is approach movies from a cynical place, I just don't want to watch you. That's how I am. Your favorite vampire movie will always be From Dusk Till Dawn. That's a good movie. What about John Carpenter's Vampires? What about that one? That was really good. And that actually turns 20 years old, I think, this year or next year. Worst sequel, Anchorman 2 or Zoolander 2? Zoolander 2 was pretty bad. Anchorman 2 was serviceable the more you watch it. But the Zoolander 2 was just like, I was not impressed. And I love Zoolander. Like, I love Zoolander. Good thing, Mikey. That's good. I need to text him anyway. So, so yeah. All right, guys. We have about 8 minutes left. Let me just double check here on the Discord. Let's see here. Anyone? Nope. That's all right. That's okay. Let's see. So, I'm trying to read the chat here. It's a little small on my secondary monitor. Would I like to see Dwayne Johnson as the Terminator? No, I would not. I would not. Johnson doesn't need to be literally in every single fucking movie that comes out. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to be in every single movie that comes out. I would very much like it if he would actually kind of like take a bit of a break, just because I feel like we're living in a world of way too much Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So there's that. Let's see. What about Bram Stoker's Dracula? That was a good movie. That was a solid film. That was a good film. I'm surprised they haven't remade that one yet, given how they are with all this shit, you know? Just saying it's all kind of like, I don't know. We don't need to remake everything, but I'm surprised they haven't. One viewpoint of movies some reviewers have that I find annoying is that if a movie has a lot of CG, it's immediately a bad thing. Well, Mason, here's the way CG works. CG is it's kind of like a meal. If a movie is a meal, then computer graphics or computer generated images are meant to be like the garnish, right? Like the little green thingy, parsley on the side of the plate. You know, it's meant to just be that. It's not meant to be anything other than that. And unfortunately, some films out there put parsley all over fucking everything, right? I mean, it's all over everything. So they can screw it up some ways. But it's like, Mission Impossible Fallout, for example. There's this really excellent car chase sequence in Paris. And it's a great car chase sequence. But there's so much CG that you can't tell, though, if you're looking at it. Like, unless you actually look at it. Because the way that it's shot and the way that it's edited, you can't see that it's CG. But it's very CG. Am I more into the Injustice game series? Would that explain my love for the DCEU? No, I'm actually not into the Justice League series at all, or to the Injustice series at all. Like I bought Injustice 2 and I played it for fucking 2 hours and that was it, like a year ago. So, but I like the DCEU because I like the deconstruction of the characters. You know, I like the deconstruction of the characters and whatnot, which is weird because I attacked The Last Jedi for deconstructing the character, but they did it in a shitty way. So that's why I criticized that shit. Let's see. It seems Dwayne Johnson accepts every role given to him. Yeah. The thing is, though, his star power in the United States is dying. In the United States is dying, but his star power overseas is really high. So he's gonna ride this for a couple more years, and then he'll take a little bit of time off, and settle down with the probably literal like billions of dollars he's made or some shit like that. He's sitting on some serious cash. I mean, look at Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle. A movie nobody asked for, a movie nobody wanted, a movie nobody cared about. Nearly $1 billion grossed worldwide. Am I a fan of CinemaSins? I watch them occasionally. I think, okay, like I'm a nitpicker, and I think they nitpick on some shit. So, there's that. I need to watch. I watch them if they come up. I just, as honest as it seems, or I should say as bad as it seems, I don't watch as many movie people on YouTube as I should probably. Like I don't watch reviewers, right? I mean I don't watch strictly reviewers because I don't want people influencing my opinion. before I see something. Now, after I see something, I will watch some reviews. But until then, I don't watch, And yet, I want to actually start doing more reviews on this channel. Like, instead of breaking up the podcast into individual videos as I've been doing, I want to, like maybe just have this thing come out and be its own long form show that's on every day, and then just review shit on the side as a way to like maybe gain more viewers. Because I'll be honest, like one of the biggest problems is like doing the long form podcast like this. It has, because it's going to have like about an hour and a half, I guess you could say like investment into certain things. Then it ends up becoming a bit of a problem for people, for newcomers who aren't used to what I do. But if I break it up and I put them out there as individual videos, I have the opportunity of getting new people. But like I said at the beginning of the podcast, or on the Star Wars bit, I'm actually probably going to be doing a live Star Wars show once a week that will go through the news, and then maybe separate that out over the course of the week, piecemeal that out to bring in Star Wars fans and have it be its own thing, at least once a week on that one. So, and I've already got a good name for it, but I'm not announcing it just yet. Let's see. What do I think of the future of Rian Johnson will hold for him 10 years down the line? I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to go back to independent films, though, after Star Wars blows up in his face. One of the best things about the Fox Disney deal is no more Ice Age movies. Those, well, I kind of like them. CGI ranges from Justice League gross to Godzilla 2014 and Thanos amazing. Yeah, that's true, Mason. That's very true. What do I think of the new Invader Zim movie trailer from Comic-Con? I'm not an Invader Zim fan, Brandon, so I never actually sat down to watch it. It wasn't until I saw, and the thing is, I'm a big like Cloverfield fan, and I know Overlord was originally like kind of set to be Cloverfield 4, but then they decided to not make it Cloverfield 4. And I ended up finally seeing the trailer for that and for the Mission Impossible, and it was like fucking awesome, man. So that's good. All right, guys, 2 more minutes. Rapid fire questions, and we'll get this thing worked up. Let's see here. Have I heard about the feds looking at letting studios own theaters? That's entirely new, Nico. That's entirely new. And some friends of mine are here listening from the old theater I used to work at, so they don't want to hear that at all. Although it was just Disney buys these. Well, Disney already owns some theaters. So there's that. Let's see here. Kroll looks like a sci-fi movie. Like the old Crow? Kroll? Twins remake with Dwayne Johnson. That would be interesting. Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart. Twinsies. Jesus, don't give me any fucking ideas, honestly. Why aren't I a fan of Twin Peaks? I just don't know. David Lynch doesn't do it for me, man. I like cohesive storytelling. That fucking avant-garde, weird, backward shit doesn't really do it for me. I'm like, I want a story. I want to present it to me in a manageable fashion. So is that. But all right. Okay, guys, we got 1 minute left. Here's the deal. If you want to keep the conversation going, if you want to keep that going, head on over to I'm going to post a link here in the chat. Discord.me Mundane Matt. Come in, check that out. If you guys want to jump in there, the general voice will be open. I will definitely be in there for a few minutes tonight as I'm finishing up clipping out today's segments for the uploads tomorrow. And again, I'm not going to be on tomorrow night. I will be on probably Monday night, maybe Sunday night, depending on the news on the weekend. I don't know if I want to do this thing Sunday through Thursday. I might just do Monday through Thursday just because of the general news and shit. So we'll keep that afloat. Keep an eye out for more content from me. Again, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Joe, if you're listening, call Mom. She needs to hear from you. And remember, Discord is probably the best way to contact me post-stream. So have yourself a great night, guys, and peace the fuck out.